Welcome to Engagement Fundraising, where you'll learn how busy fundraisers like you are generating more major and planned gifts at lower costs. Brought to you by iMarketSmart.com, the software and services company that helps nonprofits raise more money more efficiently. Welcome to Season 2 of Engagement Fundraising. Thanks everyone for listening. The big theme of this season coming up is engagement fundraising in action. To get that started, I've got a special episode today with two of my coworkers here at MarketSmart. First up is Jeff Giannotto, and we're going to dive into the power of surveys. And then the episode will wrap up with Lizzie Weiland, and we'll be diving into some success stories of what it looks like when organizations start implementing engagement fundraising. Not sure what engagement fundraising is? Well, you will soon. Here's my discussion with Jeff. Welcome, Jeff. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. Yeah,
absolutely. So Jeff is one of our solutionists here at MarketSmart. Jeff came top of my list of people I want to chat to. This time about the psychology of surveys and kind of the value of them for nonprofits is where I wanted to start. So I don't know if you want to dive in.
So surveys really are the kind of first thing we do, often within a series of tactics. And keep in mind for MarketSmart, often our focus is going to be within planned gifts, major gifts, capital campaigns. And so a survey has a place in all of those avenues, especially when starting things off, because what you can do is get your supporters to kind of come into a bigger funnel, which is that survey, and sort of sift themselves down, self-identify, self-qualify themselves into a smaller group of people you should pay attention to. And what I really mean by that is you could include within that survey, questions that just directly ask people, would you consider us in your will? Would you consider a major gift, giving us property or assets or giving through a foundation? Would you support our capital campaign? So you can ask those questions directly. And like everything we talk about at MarketSmart, the outcome of that is going to be kind of an 80-20 within itself, where there is going to be a smaller cohort in the response that you can talk to right away about those giving opportunities because they show immediate interest. But then there's also going to be a much usually larger response, maybe say that 80% in a sense, that is going to show slight or deferred intent, if you will. And so the value of a survey is kind of both present and future in that regard. You're identifying opportunities right now that you can talk to and developing a pool of prospects for the future.
And in the construct of a survey, you're able to ask, and people are answering, if they have valuable assets they're willing to give to you.
Yeah.
In a way that would be maybe uncomfortable on a phone call?
Well, or you could just say that there's kind of, different strokes for different folks. And so some of your supporters inevitably may prefer to disclose that type of information and less of, a maybe one-to-one interaction. Now, ultimately, it's all about, creating personal relationships. So this is all, even if that's how they want to initially engage, it's all meant to lead towards you actually then personally engaging the folks that show interest. But maybe even touching a little on the kind of the psychology of it all, why obviously you want those questions answered, the types of questions that I mentioned.
Is there any sort of method to go about to have them in the mindset of answering these questions, as far as the ask of the survey? How are we pitching that survey to them? And
because look, if we think about it, you could take any question I just threw out there of, would you put us in your will? Or would you support our campaign, and so on and so forth. You could take any of those questions and put them on any marketing piece in the world. You could have a whole seminar on it, invite people to come, but it doesn't necessarily mean that because you put the questions out there that people will automatically answer it in large waves. So why will they answer it for us here? What's the psychology for it? One of the reasons we utilize a survey in the first place is because a survey allows you to take someone down a very kind of specific path. We're probably not going to introduce those questions related to giving until, let's say, on the 7th or 6th question out of 10. The first 6 questions are going to be big, giant softballs that are all meant to have this person reflect and think about their relationship with you and their life story and how it connects to you. So that includes having them think about, people in their life, experiences that influence why they support you, programs they care about, parts of your mission that resonate with their values. And the overall psychology is going to be that we want them to be thinking about their life and about how their life story is connected to you while they're looking at those questions related to giving, so that it hopefully isn't feeling so much like a transaction,
right?
Or like a representation of their, what they're passionate about.
Yeah, and it's disarming them to be open to talk about things that are money is a very sensitive topic to most people.
And look, it's no dissimilar from if you were to meet one-to-one with a donor. Even if you knew them really well, you're probably not going to jump right into the thick of it. You're going to want to first get them to kind of feel the love and
see where they're at.
Yeah, and understand, kind of have them even just recollect for you, how they receive value from your existence before you actually tell them to then support, what you do.
Yeah, because you need to make that connection. Otherwise, it's all for naught, right? Yeah.
Now, the other side of it, too, that's really interesting about surveys is just the massive opportunity that really does exist. I mean, if you're a mid-size, larger, even small nonprofit, often when we'll talk to a fundraiser, there's going to usually be thousands of, or even hundreds of, or thousands of potential prospects who could make a major planned gift, but there's only maybe one or two development officers. So a survey lets you cast a wider net, get out to more people than you're getting to personally, and that's not to say you shouldn't get out to people personally. It's to say, in addition to that, we can cast this wide net and hopefully get a whole bunch of people who maybe you weren't paying attention to personally to just identify that they'd like to give, so that you can target your efforts towards them.
Yeah, and that kind of goes into the automated messaging a little bit, where you'll be able to identify that 20% that's really interested, but maybe that 80% you're able to target within the 80% certain specific interests that they have, to try to nurture them to be ready to give in the future, right?
Yeah, being cognizant of the 80-20, and you probably hear us, if you read our blog and stuff, talk about this all the time. It's very important, because as big as that opportunity is that I just described, no matter what we do, we're still in the same spot. There's still only a certain amount of gift officers, and only so many people those gift officers or gift officer can reach. And so another component within what we do at Market Smart is not only helping a fundraiser identify who they should talk to right now, such as those saying they're interested right now in the survey, but we also want to help you cultivate the prospects you can't talk to right away, who still are showing interest. They just may not be the very best prospect in a sense. And so we implement automated drip emails, which is just to say that we create emails that come from a fundraiser that they pre-approve, and that way they're kind of dripping out over time, even though the fundraiser's not really having to lift a finger. Once we kind of set the process in motion, if people reply to the emails, then it goes right into the fundraiser's inbox. And so they have the freedom to be focused on the best prospects with personal attention, while still having the peace of mind that folks are receiving relevant, timely follow-up from them, even if they're not getting personal attention.
Yeah, and it's very personalized to their survey responses. Well, there's 10 questions or so, and some of those questions we'll be able to break down and give them content that they want.
So that's also a good point. So one thing that's great about a survey, of course, is we're going to learn, one, about their level of intent, as I'm already kind of describing, but as well as some just general interest. And so we can use that data within these automated emails, such as, first of all, it's not necessarily just going to be a straight line where, everybody just gets right in and they get email 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever it may be. It's more that we're going to first segment people. Those that show a high level of interest in giving are going to get a higher frequency of emails, and that's going to be based off those questions related to whether or not they're interested in giving. Those with lower, intent or consideration are going to receive a lighter frequency of emails. And then additionally, within each email, we can even take things we're learning about someone on the survey. Say, you are an environmental or conservation organization, and one of our questions says, what part of our mission and core values is most important to you? And there's answers like conservation, advocacy, volunteer work, we just list out some different things. And so we could take that. Someone says, I'm more interested in advocacy than conservation. So we could bring that information into the email because you support advocacy. So we can personalize and segment is a shorter way to say that based off survey response.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Anything else that
I would say this is number one, surveying, whether it's, doing one with us or on your own is definitely a valuable tool and one that is age old, survey your customers. It's not actually too much rocket science put in place here. But
you'll get them from Best Buy and all sorts of things with your experience.
But at the same rate, one thing that is great about utilizing, say, third-party kind of service, if you will, that can help you with this is you don't have to do all the guesswork for copywriting and design and layout. We've already got a proven process and methodology for success. And something we really didn't touch on is we have built this whole back end that our dashboard, as we call it.
So you can make sense of the data that's coming in.
Exactly. I mean, if you're going to be successful on a survey, let's say you go out to a few thousand people and you get a 5 or 10% response rate. Once again, we got to be cognizant of the fact that there's only so many people in your office who can play with that data, who can use that data immediately. And so being able to digest that information in a back end that scores and prioritizes the response is really valuable when thinking about a 1 or 2 man or woman team who just wants to get out there and talk to, the best prospect. They don't want to have to sort of massage and analyze data.
Yeah, especially with some handwritten responses, you don't have time to be entering that data.
It's all about just letting you wear one hat, at least for this one
part
endeavor.
of it. Yeah.
Just be the fundraiser. Just talk to the best prospect.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Jeff. It's been great chatting with you, and hope to do it again.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Learn about a brand new textbook by Dr. Russell James in this quick break when we return my discussion with Lizzie Weiland. Many of you know about Dr. Russell James's research. I'm proud to share that he's just sent us over a new version of his Visual Plan Giving textbook. The new version has tons of great information on the 2018 tax law and is available for free at imarketsmart.com/2018taxlaw. That's www.imarketsmart.com/2018taxlaw. Here are just some of the things you'll learn from the book. The secret to understanding planned giving, a super simple introduction to taxes, how the 2018 tax law will affect planned giving, how to document charitable gifts, special techniques for donating retirement assets, private foundations, and donor-advised funds, and much more. Once again, download your copy for free by visiting imarketsmart.com/2018taxlaw. Now, on to my discussion with Lizzie Weiland, Product Manager at MarketSmart.
Welcome to the show, Lizzie.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
So this season of the podcast, we're going to be diving into engagement, fundraising, and action is kind of the theme of the season. So before that kicks off, I wanted to dive into some success stories and how we've seen success with our clients using the principles you've heard in this podcast.
Awesome. Sounds good.
So what's the first one you've dug up for us here?
I picked out 3 stories that really stood out to me as working an account manager at MarketSmart. One that stood out was we were working with an international Jewish youth organization, and we sent out a digital survey to about 40,000 supporters. And we had a little bit of a success, but we discovered that there was list attrition. So basically, they had been emailing their list sometimes twice a day, several times a week, just emailing them way too much, and people weren't responding digitally.
With not valuable content either. It was just asking for money a bunch? Or,
yep, exactly.
Yeah, okay.
So they were just constantly asking them for donations, which isn't a good way to cultivate a list of prospects. They had a trend of sending multiple emails to their supporters. And although people were taking the survey online, found that a lot of people were also marking the survey as spam. So we still found 16 legacy gifts, which was huge for them. That was more than what they usually found in a single year, and 300 leads. So they had a lot of people to follow up with. We decided to instead try a direct mail survey.
Which they hadn't really done that before, is that right?
Right. They had not surveyed direct mail. And of course, they had sent out newsletters and other mailings through direct mail, but this was the first time they had done a survey.
Okay.
So we had a lot more success with direct mail, and they had a 4% response rate, which is kind of unheard of in the direct mail arena. So we found 8 gifts. So it was less gifts, but hundreds of leads to follow up with. And what was really exciting is that they also found a $25,000 IRA rollover gift that stemmed from this survey. So that was really cool to see.
Oh, wow. Okay. So the next one is a preservation organization in DC.
Yes.
Can you tell me a little bit about this one here?
So we started working with them in DC in about 2014. And similarly to a lot of our other clients, they started with a digital survey. It was amazing to see the results come in because they had never done a survey like this before. We found over 120 legacy gifts in a single digital survey, which was crazy to see, and thousands of qualified leads. So responses were just like coming in at the top of the hour every hour, which was awesome. The response was so big, and there was only one fundraiser though reaching out to thousands of people.
Yeah. So how do we solve the problem of which ones to contact?
So it's hard because everyone was responding. I know a lot of legacy gift marketing people think that it's only older donors responding to surveys, but it was everyone. It was young donors, old donors, males, females, married people, people without children. It was just a huge variety of people.
Yeah.
So what we did is we realized that they needed to improve their legacy presence online. So we worked together to create an engagement fundraising legacy microsite, which they now have implemented, and they have had for a couple of years, and we're tracking engagement of all these people. And that way these supporters, thousands of people, can go online and learn more about legacy gifts. We're tracking their actions. It's cool because they've had more leads than any organization we worked with. So we implemented something called Giftmaker Plus, which is an automated cultivation series of emails to go out to these supporters. It's kind of like air support so that the fundraiser can be the boots on the ground.
So based on their survey responses, we had a lot of custom emails written for them that would target based on their responses, right?
Exactly.
Yep. Okay, cool.
Luckily, the emails helped her follow up with leads automatically, and she was able to close a lot more gifts and grow that 120 to even more.
And she'd get people responding to those emails, and those being really good signs that they're ready to give right then.
Exactly.
Right?
Yep.
Yeah.
And they're constantly being led back to the microsite that we built for them, so they're learning on their own as well.
Okay. And that microsite's feeding her data to pick out the ones that are currently going on the site and actively looking at the things to then follow up with those people.
Yep. And we're scoring in the meantime to see like who she should prioritize, who to reach out to first. So it's cool to see all that in action.
And with legacy, we'd probably prioritize the ones a little bit older, like late 50s, early 60s. Is that right?
Yep. So not just demographic information, which, we do score higher for someone who's older because they're more likely to leave a legacy gift, or they're closer, at least in that stage, but also digital engagement. So if someone's clicking on sample bequest language, 2 or 3 times, they're going to get a lot of points because that's probably someone that's ready to make a bequest.
Yeah, definitely.
Yep.
Great. Well, the last one here is a human rights LGBTQ rights organization. They're based out of LA area, is that right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. So like a lot of our clients, this organization wanted to set up a microsite, a declaration of intent, which basically just captures legacy gift commitments and gift sizes, and also drip emails at the same time as their digital survey. So they basically, instead of, like the first organization or the second organization, they set up everything up front, which was really smart because they had a terrific response rate to both digital and direct mail surveys.
And by having it all at once, you'll also capture more engagement data as they're getting the survey that are then probably driving to the site right when that survey is happening versus setting up the microsite after the fact, and then you lose all that data.
Yeah, and having to wait months to or drive supporters somewhere that's relevant. They found over 120 legacy gifts and over 500 leads from the direct mail survey. So really lucky that we set all that up.
Yeah, definitely.
And because they were set up from the beginning and they had those drip emails going out, the fundraisers could follow up with the top leads in a more personalized way while everyone else was getting those drip emails. And what I really like telling is that they found more than $10 million in gift commitments from just 22 people from that declaration of intent. So it's just
that's huge. Yeah.
Enormous. Yeah. It's really inspiring to see that.
And with most of our clients, I guess broadly speaking, what's their approach before working us? It's a radical change. Like, what's the common theme we hear from how the clients used to work and then they work with us, and what's the shift for most of them?
I think they think it's pretty radical for the first time. A lot of clients, when they hear about our philosophy and what we do, they do think it's a little bit more radical because surveys were kind of foreign, and we've made it more common, I think, in the past year or so, and more people are into doing that. So I think surveying donors can be scary, but once they do it, they see the results and the value in that. But also a lot of people, I think, are hesitant to kind of go into our philosophy because it's not just about tax and legalese and what money the donor is going to get from making a charitable donation to an organization, but it's more about why they give and talking to them like it's your grandma. You don't want to. It's not. You're not talking to a lawyer.
No,
so
yeah.
it's a shift.
Mm-hmm.
But I think our clients, for the most part, I hope so, are happy with the change.
Great. Well, thank you, Lizzie, for your time. It's been fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Engagement Fundraising. If you like the show, make sure to review it in iTunes and pass it along to a colleague. If you're curious about what we do, make sure to check out iMarketSmart.com and download the Visual Planned Giving textbook over at www.iMarketSmart.com/2018 tax law. Thanks again for listening to Engagement Fundraising.